Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Relationship Talks. I'm your host, Lorrie Brook, and together we will get to take a look at what goes on behind closed doors. Today, we're in for another solo episode, and I wanted to talk to you about how we navigate issues and how we navigate and resolve conflict in a different way to what some people will be used to. So let's buckle in and get down into it. Conflict resolution is not something new when it comes to relationships. We always have to be able to listen and hear what other people are saying and then try and come up with a solution. Sometimes how it's done isn't great. Sometimes we've got slamming of the doors, raised voices, name calling, blaming, finger pointing, all of that. And that is what we call reactionary, or what I call reactionary responses. But what we want to do is we want to make it more, we want to take the reaction out of it, right? We want to be able to actually see and look at the issue for what the issue is. And the way that we can do that is by putting the issue out on the table in front of us. And so you kind of want to go, this is the issue that I have. And an example of this would be, you've had an argument about something. Maybe it was a parenting matter. You've had an argument about a parenting matter. You didn't like how the other parent disciplined the children, or you didn't like what the children said to you. So you wanted to resolve this between yourselves. So you go, I want to talk about this. And we put it on the table. This is the issue that I want to talk about. And so when you're talking about the issue, you're talking about the issue as if it's standing there in front of you, like you've got a cup of coffee in front of you. And I'm talking about the coffee. So the coffee it's warm, it's nice, it's sweet. The issue makes me feel A, B, C, D. It makes me feel frustrated. It makes me feel makes me feel like I'm being manipulated. It makes me feel like you're undermining my parenting. It makes me feel whatever it is that it's coming up for you. But we're talking about the issue as if it's already out on the table. It's not about the other person's response. It's not about what they said to you. It's not about what the argument was about. It's about the issue right then and there. And we start talking about it in that third party sense. Another great way to do these conversations is to actually set time aside. So when the issue arises, you're not trying to resolve the problem then and there, because often, and if you've done the course, you would know that when you're trying to resolve a problem then and there in the process, all you can be doing is butting heads because you're so emotionally invested in the problem and the outcome that in your mind at that particular point in time, your way is the only right way. And so we want to get out of this behavior pattern. And to do that, we can say, right, this is an issue for me. I want to talk about it. Can we set aside some time in 3 nights at the end of the week for us to talk about it? And during that time apart, or during that time when you're not talking about the issue, you're not coming up with supporting arguments as to why you're right, but you're standing there and you're considering the issue as a whole. Okay, so this is what the issue is. Why am I feeling this way? Why is it causing me to react and respond in this manner? What is it that is being, I suppose, triggered, if you want to use that word? I don't like using that word very often, but what is it that's kind of making me respond that way and jump to that conclusion and get that tight chest and all of that? So when you're doing that, you then also at the same time create an agenda. Okay, so this is the topic that we want to talk about. I'm going to talk about this. You can talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. And then we're going to see what are our options moving forward. How can we actually resolve this moving forward? And again, it's done in a way that is not blaming. It's not finger pointing. It's not telling the other person that they're wrong, that they're the cause for all of this, but it's actually addressing the issue. When you're having a conversation that way, though, it is also important that you're actually listening to the other person when they're talking. that you're not just coming up with your next argument and your next point. You need to be able to listen and take on board what they're saying and consider it. Be curious. And this is where curiosity becomes your best friend. Ask them questions. Don't ask them questions to get caught up, but ask them questions like, why do they think that? Why do they feel that? What happened that made them respond that way? And would they respond that way if you had reacted differently? If this didn't happen, would you have still felt the same way? Because sometimes the issue that we're talking about, the issue that caused the conflict, isn't actually the issue. And that's the important thing to understand. And I know that can get a little bit confusing because you might be thinking that you're fighting over the dishwasher and how the dishwasher was stacked. Whereas you might be actually fighting or having this conflict because somebody feels underappreciated, undervalued, overworked. They don't feel like their input in the relationship is being recognized. And so that's what you want to understand. Is the issue the fact that the dishwasher wasn't stacked properly, or is there something else underneath it all? And the only way to get to that is by being curious, is by asking questions to actually understand the other person's point of view. And if in that conversation it comes out that, oh, hang on, I'm actually not upset about the way the dishwasher was stacked. I'm upset because I want some more appreciation, acknowledgement. You don't then turn that around and go, I knew it, and blame them and ridicule them or judge them for that. You take that as a learning opportunity and go, wow, we really made some progress here today. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being open and admitting that, you know, what you got cranky at wasn't really what you were getting cranky at in the first place. Thank you for doing that. And you be genuine about it. Because when we can start to have these conversations and understand where people are coming from, that is where the growth, that is where the goodwill, and that is where that connection in our relationships come from. Remember, like always, the choice is yours. Make today and every day the very best it can be. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time. Bye for now. And thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Relationship Talks. If you can, I would love for you to jump on and leave a review. And whilst you are at it, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please join me again next week when we get to take a look behind closed doors at someone else's relationship. But until then, I am your host, Lorrie Brook, and remember the choice is yours, so make today and the week the very best it can be.